It was 7 years ago today. 16 people were killed, 200 were injured after a violent tornado devastated communities across central Arkansas. A lot in Vilonia, Mayflower. April 27th, 2014 will be a day that we never forget in Arkansas history. You see that debris. There are many neighborhoods still today recovering from that violent tornado. And I want to get now to KRK4 Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan, along with National Weather Service lead forecaster Chuck. I want to get to both of you guys. Thank you for joining us here today. You know, this is such a day that is instilled in our history. Chief Keith, you were forecasting that day when, actually, in fact, you both were forecasting that day when the tornado warnings were issued. Keith, just bring us back 7 years ago, that morning. I know that people will always talk about the smell in the air and just how the environment feels. Bring us back to that morning.
Well, Mitch, it was well forecast risk day. The Storm Prediction Center, as well as local folks, the National Weather Service, Little Rock, we're well prepared, as were we. We had the entire team in by mid to late morning, and it was just a matter of waiting to see where the thunderstorms would develop. And then, of course, we had the tornado watch issued, and then, if I remember correctly, Chuck, we had a PDS, a particularly dangerous situation tornado watch, which within the tornado watch that was issued. And so we knew it was going to be a potentially dangerous day. And the thing is, once things start to happen, and I'm sure it's the same with the folks over the Weather Service, you just kind of automatically, it's like a muscle memory. You cover what's going on, and then you process what's going on a little bit later. So when you see the signature on the radar of a debris ball heading toward major population centers across an interstate highway, at the time you're thinking about it a little bit, but you have to maintain your composure and you have to maintain your cool and your calm to make sure you get out the necessary information. But deep down that there are people's property and lives in the path of that storm. And it was a long afternoon, a long night, and I'm sure you'll agree, Chuck.
Yeah, most definitely, Keith. It's first off, thanks for having me today. Not an anniversary you like to remember all that, as much, but yeah, it was. You definitely went into that mode of, you knew something was going to happen. It's just a matter of where and when. And in that case, that being that Sunday afternoon and evening, and like you said, they even hit us with a high risk. SPC did with the outlook that day, and that's doesn't happen all that often, even in current time. But even back then, it was a real small area that we were really concerned with. So,
Chuck, can you, if you don't mind, can you just bring us back to the day before and the conversations happening in your office?
Well, Mitch, we were that day. We were seeing up to the point of that we knew there was going to be some severe weather in the state, but as Keith knows as well, for being 7 years ago, I mean, technology's really improved as far as the weather modeling goes. But back then, it was like ourselves, myself, and the other forecasters that were working that afternoon and even the days before. Just our experience just showed that we knew something was going to happen. It's just a matter of where and the amount of potential and coverage that the severe weather was going to do. So as we got closer to that day, we bumped up our staffing. We had various folks coming in at different times, staggered in the office, and we were pretty much just waiting to see what would happen as the day went on that Sunday.
What was it like? And I'll pose this question to both of you. Chuck, we'll begin with you again. We're joined right now with Chuck Rickard. He's the lead forecaster at the National Weather Service, Little Rock. And then we'll get to Chief Keith here. But Chuck, when did you realize, at what point during this storm did you realize the devastation that it had caused? Was it very soon after? Was it hours after? Could you tell when the storm was rolling through that this was going to be a life or death scenario?
Yeah, it's we talk about it in the office. I mean, I've been in the Weather Service now over 30 years, and I started my career here in Little Rock. So I've been here since 1988, and have seen other severe weather outbreaks where we've had major tornadoes come through parts of the state, and just with the technology we have on the radar and how fast this storm spun up in western Pulaski County that evening, basically as soon as it touched down, and we were starting to get damage reports from various the public, ham radio folks. Just seeing the indications on radar, it's basically myself and several other forecasters that were watching the radar as well. As soon as I put the first warning out and saw the signatures on radar, I knew this thing was a bad storm, and it was, basically churning up debris and destroying anything along its path. And it was just, it's surreal, but we have a job to do to protect life and property and issue warnings in a timely manner, and just trying to get the word out to folks that were upstream of this storm, because we knew, just seeing on radar, just how bad that storm was going to be, and just watching, as far as where it was going to track, and again, taking aim at, eventually Vilonia and Mayflower in that area that afternoon and early evening.
What about you, Chief Keith?
Well, the the storm was once it developed, folks in the National Weather Service stayed updated with it. There's never enough time to get ready for something like this. But after the initial touchdown, and when, as Chuck mentioned, you get the damage reports in, we had a ham radio operator in our studio. We were hearing it the same as the folks over the Weather Service. You're getting the reports in that there's damage, and the signature on the radar showing debris being lifted aloft. At that point, and like we said, we kind of spring into, let's get folks downstream or upstream, whichever way you want to put it, properly warned. And I think there was a lot of warning. There was, in many cases, long lead times on where the storm was going, or at least a general area. Just unfortunately, it was such a powerful tornado, on the upper end of the EF scale of a 4, that unless you had a perfect FEMA approved storm shelter, we were going to see lives at risk. And that's the hardest part of it, is knowing that the storm is headed for a populated area. Not everybody is going to have that built-in storm shelter. And there's going to be folks taking cover, doing everything right. But the storm was just too strong. And it overcame, a lot of well-built homes. And, and that was pretty clear in the surveys as well, that a lot of homes cleared the foundation. And as I mentioned, in the upper levels of an EF4. And I recall talking to an elderly woman that lived up around Mayflower. And, one of the things we always say, as whether it's media or the National Weather Service or emergency managers, get out of mobile homes and modular homes. I mean, they offer no protection in even strong straight line winds. And that's something that I always say frequently while I'm on the air. And I remember meeting that lady during one of our coverage live shots after the tornado going through the damage up in Mayflower. And she said, I heard you say that, and I heard how serious you were. And I made sure I got to another place that was more sturdy. She survived. She went back, and she never was able to find her mobile home. So, that, you want people to understand what the right thing is to do. You want it to be muscle memory for them too. Second nature, where tornado warning, here's my plan. And that's why we stress it every year as we get into tornado season or severe weather season for that matter. Have that plan and know it well. So when you get the warning, you can take that action quickly, because seconds and minutes count for sure.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I know, Chief Keith, we're gonna have to wrap up here. We got to get ready for KRK4 News at 4. Chuck Rickard, the lead forecaster at the National Weather Service here in Little Rock. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for you sharing your memories with us. We know that this is more than just a weather event. This is a day that is going to be a day that people remember forever, because it's the day that they also lost loved ones, and people were also injured in this storm. So you know, this is more than just a symbolic weather day. This is a day that we do remember people who lost their lives, and hats off to everything you do at the National Weather Service to keep Arkansans safe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Yep. Thanks, Keith.
All right, thank you guys. And I just want to remind you right now that you can download the Arkansas Storm Team app. You can get alerts sent straight to your phone, whether it be day or night. Just pull out your phone right now. And if you're not already on your phone watching us, maybe you're sitting at a computer, pull out your phone, take a photo of that QR code. It will download the Arkansas Storm Team app straight to your phone. For now, I'm Mitch McCoy along with Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan from KRK4. Have a good rest of your day, and we will see you in our next newscast beginning at 4 p.m. on KRK. Have a good day.